And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in business with a community showdown between the Knights of Kalador, who shall be led by Falcon, facing off against the Wood Elves, who shall be led by Reginald Puggington. It's going to be Orion facing off against an Archmage of something or other. Looks like it is going to be an Archmage of Fire atop a Mighty Dragon. Things are getting quite spooky indeed. Now, for the High Elf army here in the front line, it is going to be Basic Spearmen, which, they hold, and they hold. That's pretty much it. They do also have anti-large, so against things like Wild Riders, and also poking Orion, it can get some damage in there, but really, they are just there to hold things in place and be the anvil upon which the hammer of the Dragon Princes crashes. So for Falcon in the back, it's going to be triple Dragon Prince, it would appear. Man, I love this color scheme. Knights of Kalador look really badass. But it is going to be triple Dragon Prince. And heavy cavalry have always been pretty good against Wood Elves. Wild Riders kind of get crushed by heavy cav. The Wood Elf infantry all have light armor, so shock cavalry are very good against them. And even against Great Stag Knights, I'm pretty sure Great Stag Knights would probably lose head-to-head against Dragon Princes in a straight-up fight. So they're going to have a pretty good matchup here. One thing you got to watch out for is like Waywatcher, Focus Fire, and that style of play. But generally speaking, Princes are really nasty. Triple Archer here in the back. We do have a Fire Mage with Burning Head and Fireball. And it looks like there's also a Mage of Life, because if you're going to be going with, 3 Dragon Princes, you really do want some healing here. So that is pretty much it for the army of the Dark Lord Falcon. And now for Reginald Puggington here in the front, it's going to be Eternal Guard. Eternal Guard will, much like their cousins on the far side, they will hold, but they do have a little bit of a AP advantage in that situation at the expense of, I think they have a little bit less melee defense. 2644 compared to 2250. Yeah, but again, that's dependent on the martial prowess. I've always felt that Eternal Guard are just a better unit in general, but can't have everything. Glade Guard in the back, it looks like there's going to be triple, one of which does have the Hagbane tips, Wild Hunters of Kurnus, and I think there's some sort of an ambush going on. Yeah, double Great Stag Knight. Now, like I said, if the Great Stag Knights do charge straight into Dragon Princes, like head-to-head, just going in their fisticuffs, I'm pretty sure the Stag Knights would lose on the charge, but if the Stag Knights are the one doing the charging and catching the Dragon Princes off guard, Dragon Princes are a unit that have a pretty massive charge bonus. If we take a look downtown here, yeah, 80. So without that charge bonus, I think the armor piercing plus just the raw weapon strength of the Great Stag Knights could potentially win it out for them. And that's kind of what they're designed for anyways. They're a very mobile unit. They have 90 speed compared to Princes who rock 66, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, no, they're a little bit faster, 78. Those Elven horses quite a bit faster than the Empire Knights, which are rocking, I believe, 66 speed. We got Glade Riders of Spears, and that is it. So let's get this party started and see how this battle goes. Orion, the Master of the Wild Hunt, is going to be making an appearance here. Certainly great. Anti-large, armor piercing, good against dragons, good against heavy cavalry. Orion is probably one of the best characters in the entire game, in my opinion. He is an absolute raid boss to take down. And I can't tell you how many games I've seen won simply by just having Orion on the battlefield and having him endure and just really punish. Now, initially, the trade does go a little bit better for Puggington here, as his Glade Guard with their 170 range do outrange the Reavers pretty well. You get a huge volley. It looks like Orion also... Wow, Orion's Javelin took out 10 models right there. Holy shit. Okay, I was wondering how they took so much damage, but yeah, Orion must have gone pretty ham. Now, here comes a little bit of jockeying here from the Wood Elves. The Great Stag Knight's going to be kind of Tokyo drifting here on the flank. Now, this is an interesting position because there's no flanking, really, because to flank the Wood Elves, you'd have to go up through this terrain here, which kind of puts you out of position. And to flank on this side, you have to do, go right across the edge of the map. One of the main reasons why this map in general, I believe it's called the Devastation of Ostermark, you don't really see it in like tournaments. So this was actually a quick battle that took place, and that's why you're seeing it here. But I would definitely not pick this map in a tournament because it can be pretty unfair. These players are playing it pretty square, and neither player is really, taking advantage of like camping on a terrain piece or anything. But I played battles here where folks like will camp on like the high ground here, and it's just miserable. Anyways, Burning Head going down on the Glade Riders with the Hagbane tips. Those guys take a little bit of roasting, but honestly, Puggington gets out relatively unscathed. Doesn't even lose a single model, actually. And now the Glade Riders are going to be scooting up and trying to focus down that Archmage. Orion, as well, is going to be jumping into the Spearmen and getting some ample kills. And here comes the Great Stag Knights. Granted, the Spears were braced, so they're going to take that like relative champs. And the Great Stag Knights most certainly want to retreat here before the Dragon Princes are able to come in and shoot them. And that was a pretty good trade. At the end of the day, he hurt the Spearmen, took almost no damage on the Great Stag Knights, and I definitely call that a decent trade for the old wood. But now the Elven Archers, the High Elven Archers, are going to be unleashing salvos of fire into the Great Stag Knights, who only have 60 armor, so not really going to be the best trade for them. Orion is also in the backfield, causing some heavy disruption. Foe Seeker active, keeping that vigor nice and juicy. Looks like, though, he is going to get hit by some of those princes there, but he should be okay. So yeah, very fierce fight here. You can see the 2 Stag Knights just getting peppered down by the arrows, but the Stag Knight's going to be getting a nice charge on the kind of disconjointed Dragon Princes here, who are very busy in combat. And that's going to be good for the Staggies, who are also going to get the Horn of the Wild Hunts. But more importantly, the dreaded Tactical Reserve, the Glade Riders with the Horn of the Wild Hunts, come in and start disrupting the Archer line. Oh man, nice Burning Head though from Falcon. That's actually going to be hurting the Great Stag Knights quite a bit and probably mangling the Eternal Guard here. Yup, they get pushed back. And then suddenly Reginald Puggington is in a bit of a dire situation here, as his Great Stag Knights, unprotected by the Eternal Guard, though supported by Orion, are going to be getting pushed back by the Dragon Princes. And yeah, there you go, Stag Knights. They're going to be running for them old hills. Regrowth going down, though. Still have 20 models. Kill 20 of 24 and 20 of 24 on both of them. So they're still very functional units. And on this side of the battlefield, the Wild Hunters of Kurnus plus some Eternal Guard seem to be trading well with the Dragon Princes. Both players have essentially in a way traded a flank. Granted, it seems like Felcon might be in a little bit more of a commanding position since he's still contesting this flank and has completely won this flank. But if the High Elves do overextend, if these Dragon Princes keep chasing, now the Great Stag Knights, the return to the reindeer, and they're not going to be able to get away. Those Christmas elks here should be able to charge in, or stags I should say, are going to charge in and really punish those Dragon Princes. Yeah, really nice counterplay right there, and those Princes will be breaking for sure. So just take out the Princes, pull back the Stag Knights, use their speed to remaneuver over here. You have to remember Orion is still a presence here. And really nice Hawk's Talon going down, actually punishing those Spearmen pretty good. And here the Wild Hunters of Kurnus trying to dive on top of the Archmage of Fire, but are going to be taking a thunderous charge there from those Princes. Though pulling back pretty quick and also pulling up some spears to support. This is some really, really good play from both these players here. Really enjoying this game quite a bit. The Great Stag Knights in the back have equalized the balance of power. Now, it was looking a little bit Felcon favored, but now that these big old stags are going to be just running rampant in the back line, probably even able to break these Spearmen, they could sweep into the Archer line. Also, the Glade Riders are coming back, and the Archers are more or less unprotected. Granted, it's only a couple, so shouldn't massacre the Archers or anything. Now here comes Mel Gibson. He is a little bit surrounded by Dragon Princes, but still getting some nice attacks there into the Archmage of Fire. You can see a hefty little chunk of HP is going to be taken off there. And now the Princes are going to be charging into the Great Stag Knights. Yeah, they're getting that big old messy fight. Granted, the Princes do have the advantage of a dragon nearby, and also do have the Earthblood, which is going to be countermanding some of that damage right there. Very, very close game, though. Balance of power is still pretty even, a little bit Felcon favored. You can see it does drift forward as these Great Stag Knights start to dissipate. However, Orion's on the battlefield, and I can't tell you how many games have seemed close until Orion just is able to kind of survive and weather the storm and maybe goon out your Lord or something. Things can get very messy. A little bit of a problem for the Wood Elves is the fact that the High Elves still have a fair amount of archers, which gives them really good constant pressure on top of all these lightly armored cav units. Only 60, but, Great Stag Knights do have silver shields. Wild Riders, I believe, do not have silver shields. We'll go ahead and double check here. They actually do. They got silver shields, a little bit less armor, so they, I suppose, can take some shots as long as they're facing the right direction. If a unit is running like this, for example, and being shot in the back, the shield effect, as you would probably guess, doesn't take effect there. So the Great Stag Knights pulling back, the Wild Hunters also getting back. So Wood Elves still have a pretty good little mobile core. They do also have their Spellsinger of Life. If they could get some nice healing on these 12 Stag Knights, that'd certainly be very powerful. Orion, in the meantime, doing his best to shut down the Archers here. He's got his big old Hunting Spear, and he's going to be skewering many of these guys. There's some Eternal Guard. Oh, he didn't kill anyone, so that was really strange. Maybe the melee defense of the Archers held up. The mighty 14 melee defense. But that should get a couple of them. There you go. Master of the Wild Hunt finally getting some prey. So if we take a big macro look here at the battlefield, it looks like there are some Archers coming back. So we do have 38 Glade Guard here. We have 30 Glade Guard right there. And the Spears are continuing to push up. And honestly, it looks like the game is getting closer and closer. I don't know if I'm seeing any Dragon Princes left. It looks like there's 4 right here. And the Wood Elves still do have cavalry. They have 14 Wild Hunters. They have 5 Stag Knights right here. And it looks like another unit of 6 Stag Knights, which are kind of like demis in the sense that every model is relatively elite. It's very hard, right? So those guys can still cause a lot of disruption. And yeah, this game is a lot closer than the balance of power would infer. If the Wood Elves can focus down the last of the Dragon Princes, that's going to give Orion some serious freedom to just be a huge bully this game. Because I don't think there's any way without cycle charging that the Archmage of Fire could defeat Orion. However, Orion is a little bit susceptible to magic damage since he does depend on his physical resist to be such a linebacker. So perhaps using some fireballs to try and shoot down Orion in the late game once his Cloak of Isha pops to just finish him and give the death blow, that could be enough. This is certainly very nice for Felcon, too, the fact that he does have the triple archer still functional. But yeah, if Reginald can just finish off the Princes and the Archers run out of ammo, I mean, Orion is going to be so tough to kill without, the focus fire and things like that. So any shots that aren't going into the old boy Orion certainly will be nice. Now, Wood Elf Cav getting pushed off. Great Stag Knights are gone. It looks like the Wild Hunters of Kurnus are the last bastion of their people. They're going to be coming back in, I would imagine, maybe to clean up some Dragon Princes or, dive the Archers, granted. Yeah, you probably got to finish the Archers here. They still have a lot of ammo. I think maybe going after them with Orion might be the play. Spellsinger of Life is on the ground. Obviously is a pretty prime target here for Felcon, who is going to be going for the strike here. Nice attack there by the Moon Dragon, aka the Costco Dragon. And the Archmage of Fire is going to be running, though taking a little bit of damage in the process and getting staggered by Orion's attack there. Now, this is really important. The fact that he has 19 Dragon Princes left does give him the means to kind of, keep things off his valuable assets. The Dragon Princes can run in, buy some time, and allow the Dragon to cycle charge Orion pretty effectively. And it looks like maybe a Hawk's Talon's going to be going down here. I think it is. Not the Hounds of Gibson. So the Hawk's Talon should rain down. It maybe gets one Prince. It looks like it does not. So maybe using the Hawk's Talon to the Archers could have been the way, but it's hard to tell. Now here it comes, Orion pushing into the Archer lines. The Wild Hunters of Kurnus attempting to do the same thing. Granted, pulling back is certainly the right play. With the Dragon Princes, of course, getting the charge on them, they'll get destroyed pretty badly. But remember, guys, Raid Boss is still here. Archers are running even more sparse on ammunition, and this game could certainly go either way. I mean, if Orion is able to get a good trade with Archmage of Fire too, that is going to be game blouses, in the words of the great, well, I guess it was Dave Chappelle doing an impersonation of Prince, but oh, that's so funny. If you guys haven't seen the Dave Chappelle show, I know there's some folks on the channel who might be a little bit younger. You should go watch the Dave Chappelle episode where he's talking about Prince and how Prince and his ended up playing Dave Chappelle and his friends in a basketball game. Oh my god, it's so good. You guys got to go check that out. That one and the Rick James one. Those are by far my favorite ones. There's so many good Chappelle Show episodes. Anyways, here it's just Orion versus the world. We've seen this before, and all the archers are out of ammo. And even though it seems like it's good for the High Elves, it's this isn't going to be fresh fish, man. Cloak of Isha is going to be coming on once he gets lower, obviously. So yeah, just ignore the archers. Probably just go after the Dragon Princes. Granted, since this is the last thing the Wood Elves have left, and I would imagine that Reginald and Falcon are both kind of abiding by general tournament rules. Orion, he can attack the nearby targets, but for the most part, he just wants to dodge those breath attacks and do his thing here. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding as Orion dodges a fireball right there. Oh, but a big breath attack! Holy shit! Oh, that did so much damage. That might have just won him the game. I was gonna say Orion might put up a huge. He had 2,500 HP, but that breath attack and fireball did so much. But now comes the real hard part. But it looks like Orion, that breath attack was enough, I guess. Oh my god! I actually thought Orion might pull that back. But the breath attack did so much damage. Holy shit, that did 2,000 damage. Yeah, Orion, 3,200 value, pretty great. I'm curious about how the Stag Knights performed. I would assume they did okay. 800 and 1,200. Yeah, Stag Knights I'm kind of on the fence about. Granted, they are very good against Silver Helms. And Princes, I suppose they can trade well. But the Dragon Princes, man, big value trains. 1,900, 1,000, and even 800 on the one that didn't do so well. But yeah, 2,900 here. Archers, of course, really all paid for themselves several times over. The big breadwinners, of course, for the Wood Elves was Orion. He carried that game super hard on his back. Wild Hunters did better than the Great Stag Knights, which is something I find to be the case. They seem to just perform better, in general, even against big armor targets. I don't know if it's because of the amount of models they have or just some other stat variables, but generally they do quite well. Anyways, very well played. That was a super fun game between Falcon and Reg. They both played a great match, and ended up being a glorious Knights of Calidor versus Orion battle, ended by the glorious Dragon Breath attack. So again, well played to these two gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and we will be back with more content soon. Cheers, my friends.